Friday night, I want a Chippy Tea. Chippy Tea, Chippy Tea, I want a Chippy Tea. Oh, you can give me posh, no, she don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry coulis. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights, I want a Chippy Tea.
We're rolling. We are on to episode, milestone.
20.
Episode 20. Yeah, we made it to 20 episodes without getting cancelled or fined or prosecuted. I think we did all right.
Aye, we're doing not too bad.
It's early days yet, though, isn't it? So, welcome to the Chippy Tea podcast. The Chippy Tea podcast is a nice, slow, meandering chat between me, two blokes from up north, which is me, Tony Palmer from Palm Print, and
Danny Day from Flip and Sweet Print Co.
with his legendary wink now, talked about in every corner of the UK. What do? Well, we just basically sit and have a good old natter, a little chat about what we've been doing this week, what's happened in our screen printing world, and occasionally we'll wander off on a tangent. It's been known to happen, but the tangents are the best bits. So we're going to kick off this week. This week is following on from what we did last week, which was just a nice, slow chat about, I can't remember what were we talking about last week?
I think we just got pissed last week, to be honest.
Oh, that's the one we got. Yeah, we had a bit. Oh, we did it live. We did a live chat with a beer. Yeah.
That was
We're
brilliant.
for doing that again. So following on from that, this is a relatively sober. I'm drinking water and Danny's...
I've got one
Not
can
got-
left from last week's episode, so I'm supping that. But I have been supping water all day, so
Not a cocktail. No
no
umbrella. in it.
cocktail, no brollies. Just
So we're going to have a wander through
yeah.
what we've been doing this week since the car crash that was the live episode. Then I'm going to throw it straight over to Danny. It went really well, yeah. I was going to throw it over to Danny and say, okay, so tell me, Danny, what have you been playing with this week?
You always throw those little curveballs. I'll tell you what I've been playing with, my chuffing keyboard, answering emails, now that I'm on my Todd.
Oh, yeah, well, you
Jasmine's left us.
did live fire Jasmine, though, didn't you, to be fair?
No, I announced Jasmine's live, what's the word? Retirement, not retirement, whatever you call it.
Resignation.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so this has been a bit of a shock to the system because now I'm answering emails and checking up on details for orders and at the same time also trying to print the bloody things. So
back to the good old days. So what's the plan? Are you going to replace her? Are you going to try and bluff your way through? Or what are you going to do? What's your solution?
At the moment, I think I'm going to try bluff my way through. Now, for the next handful of weeks, I expect my inbox to be on fire, but I expect it to sharply plummet, extinguish for the month
Because
of
of
December.
Christmas.
Because of Christmas, yeah. So if I can get through this next few weeks, I'll be better off at Christmas anyway because I won't really need so much admin work. And then next year, I'll have a think about it, whether I take on someone to help me with admin or whether I get a screen goblin in. I can't say that. Screen goblin in.
Screen
Or
pit
if I have a
technician.
think outside box. That's the one. Or think outside the box. I've had a think about maybe even marketing. Having someone in helping with social media. That would be very, very outside the box. A little bit of a bold gamble, but just
Do
maybe
you
picking
think
up
you
a
need to-
student who's.
Do you think you need to sell more stuff?
It's not an easy answer that because
No, I
yes
know.
and no. Sometimes half a year half a year? No, half a year I'm at my limit. Right now I'm at my limit. I'm absolutely at capacity. We're pretty close to saying we're done for Christmas. In early November, and I'm already thinking I can handle as much as I can before Christmas now. So, but January, February, I'll have opposite problem. It'll be too quiet.
I know, yeah.
So-
if you turn the tap off now, you've got to put up with the pain of that early January. And let's face it, early January is when you need some bleeding money because you've just spent it all
Absolutely, yeah.
basically running a shop that hasn't printed anything for at least, in England, 8 days minimum.
Yeah.
But you've still got to pay.
If you have a slow
You've still got
start
to
to
put your
January,
lights on. You've still got to pay for all your rates and your rent and everything else. So, but you've got no income to come in with it. So yeah, it's a difficult time of year. But I think it's the same for everybody. I suppose the alternative is don't go on holiday. Don't have a break. But
I mean, I don't. To be fair, it's not so much that I have time off that's a problem. We just don't get that much. I mean, well, going off last year or this year, January were dead, just totally dead.
Yeah.
And I was here. I'm always here tinkering, or over Christmas I'll do all my DIY jobs. I'll have a tidy, a bit of spring clean. I'll do all those little jobs that I've been thinking about all year that I've not had the time to do. But then a couple of weeks after, a week or so into Christmas, then I'm like, all right, now I need some orders now. Now I need to start making money. So we'll just see how it goes. This was not a typical year. Very, very hard to read.
I think we've said that for the last
in.
2 years, haven't we? We can quite safely say that about the last 2 years. It's unprecedented. Yeah. I keep saying that word and I hated hearing it 2 years ago. Yeah. But we're still hearing it because, we're still seeing the after effects of the global pandemic that we went through. Now we've got shortages on staff, people, manners, patience. So yeah, we're still feeling the effects of it. Yeah.
Yeah, we are. It's a knock-on effect. I think I was very lucky. I mean, not lucky, but I almost felt like I'd got away with it through lockdowns when you'd think it would have the biggest impact. Because we just had the customers we used to have, we just had an alternative customer replace them. Whereas now the financial implications of those years are now weighing on everybody. And now I'm getting the effects. That's how I'm seeing it anyway. And like I say, the last 2 years have been so... Normally you can look at a year and you can see a trajectory. And then year on year, it's a very similar trajectory, maybe, but you just hope it grows that little bit.
Yeah.
This past few years, it was
growth.
like a chuffing roller coaster. You just can't predict it. There's no pattern that you can take from it. So,
and I think everybody's in the same boat,
Yeah. That's the impression I get from...
I say that, and I don't have a print shop, but I still visit lots of print shops, and I still sort of take the pulse of lots of print shops, and they all say a very similar thing. And sometimes it's, Jesus, we're busy. How come we're so busy? Christ, it's really busy.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh shit, where did that go? Where did all that work go? We thought we were busy, and it just dropped like a stone. Oh shit! Do we need to start laying people off? Oh shit! No, we're busy again. It's all right. We're good. We're okay. And that's how it seems to go. These peaks and troughs all the time, and they're so hard to try and plan for. It's always nice if you can find what we used to call a bread and butter customer.
Yeah.
So your bread and butter customer, just keeps you ticking along at that low level. You probably don't make a lot of money from them, but they keep you ticking along. The problem is we find that bread and butter customer and his peaks are at the same bleeding time as my normal peaks.
Everybody else.
So now I'm double busy and double quiet, for Christ's sake. Yeah, it's always a tough one.
I'm pretty convinced at this point that my entire catalogue of customers come together at some point and plan to order at the exact same time. I'm actually convinced.
You think they all go away for a little country weekend retreat, and they all sit in a room next to the fire, stroking a cat, going, "How can we fuck Danny up this week?"
Conspiring. How can we cause Danny as much stress as possible?
Yeah. Well, you order on Monday.
We're going to up to that.
I'm going to order on Tuesday, and if you ring Tuesday night and order yours, that'll really screw him over.
and then on Wednesday, I'm going to drop the ball. But actually, I forgot to mention, I need it in a rush as well.
Yeah, can I have it next week? Yeah.
Always happens. But what can you do? This is the print life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what have you been playing with? And because I know you've been playing with iBuild, so come on, what have you been doing with your iBuild?
The last time I had a play of it was last week, but it was. I think I did it on the show and tell last week. The last thing I did, you won't be able to see this because the camera pitch is awful. But I had a little play with foil.
That's what I looked at. That's what you posted on your Instagram, isn't it?
Yeah, I did this last week. I just reposted it because I had not better to put. But that was high build.
Shatter the illusion.
That particular example was. The only thing I was actually trying there was I wanted to see what would happen if I mixed a little bit of puff additive into the high build.
Oh, is that one? I might have been 3 bottles in last week when you showed me that, so I can't remember.
I think so, yeah. It rings a bell.
Yeah.
And
it's possible.
I liked it. You don't like it because you don't like that it adds almost a curving. Yeah.
I don't like that, yeah. Yeah, it looks a bit chunky.
Do you know what? I liked it. But then I had a couple of people message me and they said, "Is that puff print?" And now I instantly don't like it because it's took away from the effort I've put into printing it. Because puff print is a bit of additive in some ink, and when you run it through a dryer with a few tweaks at settings, iBuild is a whole new kettle of fish. And if it isn't recognisable, well, what's the point in doing it? So yeah, I've kind of put a dampener on it.
Yeah. Instead of spending all that money on film and putting all that effort into doing it, you could have just put some bleeding puff in it.
Put some puff print, yeah. What I do want to, one thing on my list that I want to crack. Now, we've all seen Mad Specials. Now, he has an effect where the ink almost looks like it's sheared away and pulled with it.
Yeah.
And he's creating these little mountains.
And peaks, yeah.
And peaks, and I don't know. That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around achieving next. That's my next.
You should probably just ring him. He'll probably tell you. But how do you think he does it?
I don't know. I really don't know. I've got in my head. I think. Well, I don't think it's screen shear. I don't think the ink is shearing away as the screen lifts. So I wonder if he's dabbing it with something.
Like
after
another
he's
screen.
printed. Dabbing it with screen.
Another screen, so the wet ink is lifted up with another screen.
So just a screen with emulsion on. Do you reckon?
Yeah, and just a light pressure.
Wow,
that'd be my guess, but I don't know. And,
yeah.
Do you know him? I don't know him. If we know him, let's get in touch with him, and he can share all his secrets.
Do you know what? I don't expect he would, and I don't like asking because. I'm not just not how I am. But that's a bloke who was put so much time and effort into learning all of that. It would be almost a little bit cruel to just expect him to give it all away.
A bit cheeky.
A bit like you, Tony.
Yeah. I give all my secrets away on a bleeding podcast we do every week.
Yeah. Well, we just tease them out, like drip feeding.
That's why my bookings are going down. It's because I keep giving all my chuffing secrets away on here.
Well, it's all for the greater good.
It is, yeah.
So,
yeah,
where are you, Tony? Where are you?
Belgium. Right now,
Belgium.
In Beverlo, Leopoldsburg, in Belgium.
Nice.
And what we're doing here is this is a customer who's got in touch with me on Instagram, which hey, it does work.
It worked. Yeah,
it does work. He's got 2 pressers. He's relatively new to it. Don't know much of his story, but a little bit. He started about 2 years ago. 2 years ago was the middle of the pandemic. So
right, yeah, good time.
I know, yeah. He suddenly decided to start a business in the middle of a pandemic with little to no experience, but his wife was doing online stuff and gifts and little sort of like transfers and prints and laser engraving online, and taking that to the next level with 2 automatic pressers, and wants to basically fine tune the skills of his little department of like 3 and 4 people. I do like these little jobs. This is sort of part of the reason why I do this. We get a guy who's invested, wants to do things properly, and then suddenly realise, oh shit, it's not as easy as it looks like in them YouTube videos that I've been watching for the last 2 years. It's actually a bit shitty, this. And so I come in and hopefully we can make life so much easier. You know, it's all very well trying to do this job and, you know, trying to get through life and pay the bills, but I get such a kickback from helping people and making their life easier.
Yeah.
And that's where I am now. So he's still doing separations the old-fashioned way, which is turning things to black and white.
Right. All right.
So to be able to jump into the art department and automate that process and running through a rip and stuff, he's got the rip, just don't use it.
Yeah.
He's got the roll printer. Just, you know, we'd rather just lay it out like this because this is how we've always done it. And so just making that change there is going to make massive difference to the workflow.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're all water-based. They're committed to being water-based. We won't have a can of glue in the shop. That's a challenge.
A can of glue. So when you say a can of glue, you mean like spray adhesive?
Spray tack.
Yeah. So they're going
No
for
spray tack in the
water-based
building.
on pallets.
Yeah. On pallets.
Not bad.
So that's a difficult thing, teaching someone from scratch, water-based, but I think I'd rather do that than try and take away the plastisol bit and introduce water-based after plastisol. So, I like the idea. It's working well.
Yeah.
I think I felt a fallen foul for this trick every time. Every chuffing time. So, somebody knows I'm coming. What do? They say,
put the worst job on you.
Job. Yeah, the shittiest job. So my first job at this firm is, I'm so glad you're here, Tony. Here we go. We're going to do this. Oh, what is it? Well, it's a nice forward water-based job. We want to use a blocker. All right, yeah, no worries. What are we printing onto? Fleece. Now, some Americans call sweatshirt material fleece.
Yeah.
So, you know, like a hoodie.
But this was proper fleece.
This is a regatta fleece.
This is actual sheep.
Actual sheep, yeah. So basically, a bobbly hand towel made into a jacket, basically.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
bloody hell!
Fuck.
Yeah.
So
I bet you did, yeah.
And I'm sort of like going back. I'm like, when did I last print fleece? Because I'm the expert here. You know, I'm supposed to know everything. When did I last print fleece? I think the last time somebody asked me to print fleece, I told them to piss off and get it done heat transfer or do it embroidery. Look lovely in embroidery. Just embroider it at the smashing. But this was 150 white text on a navy fleece. Oh, shit.
Right.
Here we go. Time to put your money where your mouth is, Tony. And it looked shit to start with.
Yeah.
To start with, yeah, it looks shit to start with. Got a roller in there, got a blocker in there, got plenty of ink down. And I often say, and I've said it on here, if we've got to hit it more than once, something's wrong. So if we've got to do a double pull or a double swipe, something's wrong. So for a start, the screens were not made on the best mesh counts. So they were a little bit higher than I wanted. But usually a double stroke will get rid of that, so I'm okay with that. But here I'm hitting this 3 and 4 times now. And it wasn't... I don't like doing that. But this material, we needed penetration. We needed... don't raise your eyebrows when I say penetration. You're not 12. we needed...
Considering how blurry your screen is, you can't see my eyebrows.
So
but
we need
raised,
that.
You're not wrong.
I know. So we need the ink to really soak into the fabric and try and keep those straight edges, which is it wasn't easy. But the ink that we used, which was Magna Migration Blocker and Aquaflex White V2, actually made it quite easy. The first 10 didn't look fantastic.
Yeah.
But after that, they actually looked quite nice. And, by the time we'd done, they were very, very close to transfer.
Did you do anything to sort of flatten it at all?
Roller.
All right. So maybe the first hit was just a roller.
Considered that, changed my mind.
Right.
I wanted the migration blocker to be a smooth surface so that I could sit my white on it. And I only had one roller. So what I ended up doing, I didn't think rolling cold would do much.
No.
So I decided to roll hot. So basically, migration blocker, flash, and then straight into a roller.
Right.
And then out of the roller, then it was quite a smooth surface to print onto. And then drop the white on top. 2 screens. The migration blocker was hit 3 times, 3 passes. And the middle white was hit, I think, 3 times as well. And the top white was hit twice. And
see, if I was
that's the first time these presses will go up to 9 strokes. And I've never had really any major need to go above 2. Because if I'm going above 2, something's wrong. High build. The high build stuff that you were doing, I might hit that 3 or 4 times. And that's perfectly normal because it's thick, stodgy, shitty ink going through a really thick stencil. This one, I felt like I'd cheated. I felt like I'd cheated by hitting it a couple of times more than I should have done.
Got the job done, though, didn't it? That's all that matters.
It got the job done. It looked nice, and we learnt a lot along the way. I learnt a lot along the way. I keep saying...
To turn down fleece.
Embroider the fucking things. I keep saying, 1987 I started this job, and I've been doing it a long time. And here we are, 35 years later, and I'm still learning stuff. So, there's not many jobs you can do where you can still say that, all you do is push the same ink through the same holes and the same... No, you fucking don't. Every job is different. You have to learn. You have to use your intelligence on every job. And I like that. I like the fact that I have to keep doing that.
I think that makes us incredibly lucky. Incredibly lucky because before you said,
stupid is the word you're looking for.
Stupid. But as you were saying that, I was thinking there can't be many jobs that have that same level of constant progression. You're always progressing and learning, and new things are coming, and there's always a challenge. Every job is a different challenge, and it never stops, and it never will. That's, in my eyes, I think. I plan to do this for the rest of my life as long as I can, and how lucky that I can do it, and what a I did.
So you can't see yourself doing anything else.
Well, but no, I can't. I would struggle to. I can't. And no, that's a whole other conversation where it gets deep and all that shit. Well, I'll tell you what I was going to say as I was listening to your story. I was thinking in my head how I would do it on a manual. I mean, how I would do it is say, go away, I'm not doing it. But if I was absolutely gun to my head, had to do it, what about just heat pressing all the garments and then putting them on press? So you're bedding them fibres
Have you ever heat pressed a fleece?
Will it damage it?
It shows up an iron mark.
Oh, does it? Right.
So
is that a
one of the
permanent?
It's very almost permanent, because we flatten the fibres down so much. So if ever I've had to heat press a logo onto a fleece, I've had to build myself a little jig and build it up. And after building up a little jig, then I still get a heat press mark, but it's more in line with the logo, and it's almost acceptable.
Right. Well,
but it never looks perfect.
All right. Well, I'll turn the job down then. I'll turn that one down and let someone embroider it.
I was already here.
Yeah.
And I thought fleece meant sweatshirt. I thought these were like Americans, and it's a fleece job.
Yeah.
But really it's just a sweatshirt job, a hoodie.
Yeah.
It wasn't fleece. It wasn't sweatshirt. It was bleeding regatta fleece, which was just horrible. Zips, I had to load everything on and then move the zip down. Glue.
Oh, so not only that, it also had a zip as well.
There's a zipper straight down the centre, yeah.
Yeah.
And zippers on the
that's
pocket,
another
which I had
challenge.
to move.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
zips are... The beauty with zips is if the zip's here, we can hang it off the pallet. Here, for anybody watching on Spotify, is where I'm pointing to. Go watch on YouTube. So if we hang the zip off the edge of the pallet so it doesn't poke up through the screen, we're safe. If we can't do that and we have to land it on the edge of the pallet, what everybody forgets is once it's glued down, we just undo the zipper. And move it to the bottom of the screen. No reason to have it completely zipped on press. Just move the zipper down out of the way.
So, are you discounting just using a zipper pallet?
So, on a manual, you'd buy one zipper pallet. Yeah? And it's about,
I suppose on
200 quid?
you need a full set.
12.
Yeah, probably a bit more. Oh, shit.
So I'd have to buy 12.
Right, forget that then.
Yeah. So they are good, and if you're doing zippers constantly, yeah, absolutely. Somebody were watching on Instagram and said that, you should build a jig up so that you make your own pallet. So basically stick 2 bits of board with a gap in the middle. Yeah, that's a good thing as well. I cut a notch in the squeegee.
All right, yeah. That's a good idea.
The squeegee's got a notch in it, so that it's not pressing on a hot zip. The roller presented a little bit of problem, but I have since seen on Action Engineering's site that they now do a roller with a cutaway in the middle.
Oh, right.
For the zip, for the hot
they've
zip.
thought about it as well, then.
So they've thought about it as well. So, it did work. Worked really well. And it highlighted to me the importance of a squeegee. I bang on this. I get on this drum all the time. The squeegee is the bit that touches the ink and the screen and the garment. It's really important to keep it clean, new, fresh. Would you think we should sharpen them, Danny?
I'm pro sharpening, me. I'm not gonna lie. I listened to your advice, and I'm still not fully convinced.
This is why you'll always be a manual.
We've been through this whole conversation, and actually, I think if I remember correctly, you sort of agreed with me that on a manual, there's no real negative to doing it. But on an auto,
you can sharpen on a manual. Absolutely.
Yeah, so if you're a manual thing, get it in the sharpener. If not, don't bother. Yeah.
So I started to look at these squeegees, and they were relatively okay, and I started to dig them out, and I'm like, do you know what geometer these are? No, they came with a press. Okay, right. Let's have a look at the plate on the press. But it was made in 2003.
All right.
So the blades are 20 years old.
That's a bit ago. Bloody hell. I mean, even unused,
some of those blades
I should imagine they have a shelf
old.
life.
Well, in the bottom of the squeegee box was lots and lots of bits of broken rubber where it has shattered just from going brittle.
Fucking hell.
I'm not sure if you're still with me because everything's frozen at this side, but I'll just keep talking to myself anyway. It's normal.
I can hear you.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Well, we're all right then. Yeah, I can hear you. You've just got this gormless look on your face.
Just a bit of a delay.
Oh, no, that's not frozen. That is just you.
That's just standard. That's just standard.
No, it's frozen. But, squeegees, definitely 100% important. I go on about the screens. The screens are a really important part of the process, but squeegees are right high up there as well. We need to get used to changing them, used to swapping them out and spending money on them. And not trying to save money on shitty squeegees, because we did this job.
So what would
we did this fleece job a little bit. It's going to be awkward if we keep breaking into each other because we've got a bit of a delay, but we'll blag it out. We'll be all right.
We're trying.
Yeah. So we started the job on the old squeegees, and I'm like, look, this is not really. So we'd ordered some new blades in, we changed them over, and it was night and day, proper night and day, completely difference. For a sharper, sort of 65, 90, 65 blade. Just beautiful print.
Yeah, it makes all the difference. Fresh blade, you can just feel it, can't you? So I heard there's a rule of thumb that I often hear on the shirt show. If you can feel your thumbprint on the edge of the blade, then it should be good to go. But when you can't, you have your little fingerprint. If you run your finger across, over the blade, you should feel it. And if you can't feel
All
it,
right, the pattern of your finger. All right, that's a good hack. No,
if you can feel the pattern if you can feel the pattern of your finger on the edge of the blade, then it's good. And when that goes, it's time to swap it. That's a shirt show special. They can send me a check in the post.
Yeah, it's good to share. All right, yeah, I'm okay with that. Anything that keeps the squeegee sharp, that's what I'm all right with.
So, as a rule of thumb, then, when do you chuck them out? Is it a time period? Once a month? Every 6 months? Every year?
Depending on how busy you are, your average size shop, like this size shop, is relatively small numbers of pieces going through. So I would recommend doing them once a year. But it's all about feel. Just like you say, run your finger on it. That's a great tip. If you can feel the pattern of your fingerprint as you roll it over. I'm doing that now. I know you can't see it, but then if we can feel the pattern of your fingerprint on the sharpness of that blade, great. Imagine if we rub a piece of rubber over a piece of plastic 3,000 times in one day, and then we do that 10 days on the trot. Eventually, we're going to lose that edge. And these were, I think they were 20 years old, these blades. Some of them, not all of them, some of them.
Yeah. So, when you go to your supplier, your local screen print supplier, and you order a roll of squeegee blade, if you don't get them pre-cut, do you use a specific colour to cut them? Or do you just run a Stanley blade up it over and over and over?
So Go
on, I cut you up, you go. Well, when in the past, when I have used a Stanley blade, what I find is the corners of the squeegees tend to turn in over a little bit of time. Whereas if I have it pre-cut, they stay nice and straight. So I wonder if me cutting it myself is causing issues.
It could be. Depends how you cut it. I'm obviously from Yorkshire. Don't like spending money. We can go to Fimo, Cerilor in France and get a little pair of scissors, like shears, with a flat base and a T. So we make sure that they're always square and 90 degrees. And if we're going to be doing a lot of it, 100% get one of them. If we've got a 6-colour press and we're going to change it every 2 years, save your money. Use a Stanley knife blade, but bend the squeegee. Right,
bend it as you're cutting it.
So bend it into almost 90 degrees, like a U. So you bend it into it. Can you see me? I'm moving my hands. I don't know that you can see me. I can't see you.
Very blurry. I can just about. I think you're doing a heart shape with your hands.
Yeah, so we'll bend the squeegee like that. So we've got it like that, and it's in a U. And then very little pressure across the top with a sharp blade because the rubber's already under tension. It just parts like that. So we're not using any strength.
That's probably where I go wrong. So if you lay it flat, you have to put some pressure on that.
You lay it flat, you're gonna struggle like mad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bend it over in two. Run a line down it, and you'll see it just part normally on its own. And then when you get to about 3/4 of the way through, reverse it. Reverse the bend the other way, and it'll just pop. Right. It'll just clean.
Oh, I'm going to try it.
And then don't forget to
here, actually, I need to... Right, here's a question for you.
Come on.
Have I been sent wrong blade? Why is it yellow? What durometer would you say yellow and white is? I don't know. I'm showing.
That's what I've just been using. That's what I've just been using. I can't see you at all.
Well, it's yellow and white.
So I've just been sent some yellow and white. So that's what I've been using here. And luckily, it came with a delivery note, and that delivery note had red, white, red, crossed out, yellow, white, yellow.
Right. Yeah, because that's what
And
I
on
ordered.
the delivery
and it
note,
turned yellow.
on the
I thought,
delivery note is 65.90.65.
Yeah, right. All right,
What did
well,
you
that's
order?
good news then. What you just said.
65.90.65.
2, 3. Something or other. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's good news. It turned up yellow and I thought, hang on, this can't be right stuff.
Where did you get it from?
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
So, I think I've told you my theory before on the people who make the squeegees and the people who make the Pantone books. They all get together in a country weekend in a big hotel in front of a roaring fire. They've all got a little white cat on their hands and their faces are in shadow. And they all get together and go, right, this week, soft is going to be green. That'll really fuck Danny up in bread. And somebody else comes along and goes, no.
I think they do.
Let's make red into yellow. Then nobody will have a fucking clue what's going on. That'll really piss Tony off over in Belgium. All right, yeah, great, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, while we're at it, here are some 7,000 numbers that nobody's got anywhere. Boom, done. I'd love to find that. I'd love to find that knobhead that's redesigned the Pantone book.
Good Pantone.
And gone, I know. We'll start at number 1 and we'll finish at number 4,000. How's that? Yeah. How are we going to arrange them? Well, obviously, we'll put them in number order. Great, super. We can all find anything we want. Right, okay. Well, I've got an idea. Why don't we put them in chromatological order? In what? Chromatological. Why? I like the word. Let's just do it. And I know for a fact it'll piss that northerner off when he's trying to find a number that he gets to 399 and the next number is 762. What? How did that happen? Yeah, but they're both blue. I don't give a knob whether they're blue or not. I want to know the next number from 399.
So,
and now,
of all the screen print shops that you've visited,
rant now.
Go on then. I won't stop you. You go on.
Well, my rant now is that
Pantone.
I know, yeah. Pantone, in their wisdom, have stopped being supported by or supporting Adobe. So now, if you want to use Pantone inside your software, you've got to pay Pantone a license fee.
Really?
It's coming. It's on its way. Yeah.
Jeez. I wonder why this stuff ends up on Pirate Bay. Not bad.
Pirate Bay. God, that were a throwback.
It will, won't it?
It's Lime or C++.
A bit of LimeWire.
LimeWire, yeah.
Yeah, no.
So go on, you're about if I go to screen print shops.
Of all the screen print shops you've been to, how often do you see them with a fresh, up-to-date Pantone book? Because I don't think many people do. You can't spend a couple £100 every Christmas. Oh, this one? That's impressive.
And if we include this one, this year...
That's it.
This one and... Yeah, this one. The 200 quid. What happens is they migrate. So when it's time for a new Pantone book, usually the favourite children get theirs first, and the favourite children are the designers. So the designers moan and whinge, and I need a new Pantone book. I need a new Pantone book. My colour's not in here. It's 7,662. Is it green or blue? So what happened? The 5-second delay when you laugh is just blowing my mind. Anyway, plus your gormless face looking at me on there when you're just touching your chin like that. It's great. So the designer gets his new book. Great. So he's got his brand new, up-to-date book. It's not even a year old. And he honestly takes it home with him. Spoilt little bastard. Then what happens to his old book, his old nasty book that's not got half the colours missing? He gives it to the printers because they can't be trusted because they get ink on everything. And what happened? So the printer usually goes, right, well, I'm the print manager, so I'm having this nice book. You can have my scratty book with pages missing. Okay, well, what about the printers? What are they going to use? Oh, well, give that to the ink mixer. He's a right dirty bastard. Give it the ink mixer. He never keeps out clean. So the ink mixer's got a 4-year-old book. The printer has a 3-year-old book. The print manager's got a 2-year-old book, and the junior designer's got a 1-year-old book, and the senior designer's got a brand new shiny book that he keeps in a little cupboard at home.
You don't take the shoes back off.
That's how it works. Yeah, that's exactly how it works.
I mean, the other issue you've got as well now, if you're a shop that has both water-based and plastisol, you need 2 books.
Why?
So that's £400 a year.
Why do you need 2 books?
Well, if I'm right, Pantone coated would be plastisol, uncoated would be more water-based.
Yeah. And maybe
right.
10, 15 years ago, that was absolutely the case. But now people are going, oh, screw that. I don't want any U numbers, no uncoded numbers. I don't care what it is. Match the C number. End of story. So,
right. Fair enough.
especially with the Aquaflex, which can be a little bit shiny, then we're getting closer to those colours anyway. So, you're right, officially. But in the real world, people aren't doing that. They're just using the C's. So as not to confuse anybody. And I sort of agree a little bit.
I had a customer. Yeah. Well, it brings me on to a situation that happened this week. I had a customer actually come visit the shop, which never happens. It's first time this year. I'm just really unsociable. But anyway, we had a customer come down, mainly because they are super, super adamant on getting the colours perfect on the T-shirts. They've got this image in their head, which I've got to cyclically work out, because they've given me Pantone references, but they don't want Pantone references. They're saying they're close, and they're wanting to see. They've asked me if they can come down so they've ordered 10 different orders, 10 different designs, and each of these designs are all totally different colours. Some 1 colour, some 2, some 3, and the challenge is. I'll ask you a question. How would you tackle this situation if a customer said to you, "Can I come down and watch you print the first shirt to make sure the colours are how I want them?" What would you do?
What a horrible question, Danny. Why on earth did you not prime me on that?
Well, it just popped in my head. We are off cuff.
It's called pushback. It's
right.
If we don't push back to the customer a little bit, we end up being the customer's bitch.
Take. Yep. Yeah.
Now we have to do what the customer says because apparently they're always right and all that bollocks. But that situation you described there, I've been in so many times, and I never win. Because we've all done this. I used to do this because this used to happen with major stores. So major stores would send their buyers round for strike-offs. Before I am that old. I've said I am old this week so many times. I don't know why. I keep going back in olden days. We used to do this. And back in olden days, we used to do this. So back in olden days, when we needed to get a strike off, we couldn't send a FaceTime. We couldn't send a picture by email. Jesus, we'd only just mastered how to fax, for Christ's sake. And even then, we couldn't do that properly.
Yeah.
So if we wanted a strike off, what was going to be 40,000 pieces, somebody had to get in the little car, trundle all the way down to the office and sit and wait. So you were under pressure. Number one, you had to get this job set up and running and approved so that we could all run. So you'd spent 4 hours setting it up. It looks gorgeous. You do a test print. First of all, you have to do 2 test prints. One to show the little buyer that's jumped in a little car and driven all the way down. One to give to the QC lady, who we don't cross the QC lady because she's like a dragon. And she puts it in the washing machine with all the little polyester weights and gives it a proper lifetime wash to see whether it washes off or not. And then you give it to the little buyer, who now is on a power trip because she's now in control of this entire factory. If she says it's not good enough, it's not good enough. And what you end up with, this is the way you start seeing the psychology of people. And we've all done this. Whoever's listening to this hasn't done this, you're a liar. If you just say you haven't done this, you're a liar. 10-colour job, got it all approved, got it all set up, we put it in front of the nose of the buyer, and the buyer goes, yeah, it's all right. But you see that peach colour? Yeah, that colour with the Pantone that you've given us, we've got to match. Yeah. Can you make it more summery? Do you want it lighter, darker? No, it just needs some zip, you know what I mean? Bit of puff, bit of zing. Just put some zing in it. Hang on, let me have a look on the shelf. Oh, look, I'm all out of fucking zing. Would you believe it? We're getting some in next week. Well, could you just make it some, a bit more floral? Talk properly, you fucking dick. Okay, so we go away, we change the colour, we come back and I go, now it just looks a bit depressing. Can we make it a bit happier? You're getting on my tits now. Right, so what you do is you go away, you read the paper, you go for a poo, ghost poo, whatever it is, you go, you do what you need to do, you come back with the same print, you put it under the buyer's nose and you go, what's that? Oh, that's loads better. Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's much happier. Yeah, that other one was sad, wasn't it? Yeah, this is happy. Oh, I like this. This reminds me of gooseberries. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah. You haven't changed the bleeding thing. And anybody who says they haven't done that when they're going for an approval, where they just disappear, wait for 10 minutes, come back and go, there, we've changed it. What do you think? Yeah, that's better. You know you're lying. And have you done it?
What?
I bet you've done it.
To be fair, I think to be the exact same customer, actually, I've done one order from him in the past, and the blue, well, it wasn't quite the right, so the blue wasn't quite light enough. So I just changed brightness on my picture when I took it. And that was perfect. And by the way, when they got the shirts, they're over the moon, so
technology.
But that's another issue. The one. People who want photo proofs, if you're that determined to get the colour exactly as, you can't do it over a screen. But at the same time, I don't want you to come to my shop either. I've got production to keep up with. I can't stop and wait for you to make your mind up whether you like the colour. 10 times. So
that's it. Yeah, because
I did exactly what you said.
We know you're going to want to change that first one. You're going to want to change that first one so you don't look like a dick for walking down for nothing, and you don't want. If you're a customer, you don't want the printer to think that you'll just accept any old shit. So you're on a power trip, and you're going to say, "Can you just change that one there? You change that because otherwise you've come down for nothing. And you made a right dick of yourself for nothing." So even if you are that customer, and even if the first print you give him is absolutely superb, just so that to keep his own self-importance, he's going to go. Just change that a little bit and then we'll be all right then.
Change it a bit.
Yeah, you're a dick.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, you're back.
Well,
you're
hopefully it don't go too bad. I pushed back. I'm moving again. I pushed back, just like you described it.
We have to push back a little bit.
I lowered their
It's a fine line. I work usually work with print departments and sales departments and customers. And so obviously the print department pushes back to the sales department. The sales department's got to push back to the customer. Now, if the sales department is weak or new or a little bit scared of upsetting a customer, then we get all sorts of crap where we have to run round in circles to try and appease some little 23-year-old buyer. Yeah. Where really, if the sales person is strong enough and confident enough in that we're going to produce a good job, they push back a little bit and go, look, play the game. We're not going to put the whole factory on hold while you do this. Trust me, it's going to be okay. I'll send you a proof. We'll post you one tomorrow, but we're going to produce them because we know what you want. And this is, and working with that customer like that is good. I think you are opening yourself up for a world of hurt when this guy comes in. Because number one, he's going to be watching you. So you can guarantee if anything's going to fuck up, it's going to be while he's there watching you. And if it's over 10 orders... It's not coming in. Isn't it?
Yeah.
If it's over 10 orders, he's going to have to be there for what, 4 hours? All day?
He's going to be there all week. And bear in mind, he's in London. So he's going to have to drive down from London 10 times. Well, maybe 7 times. It's not possible. I pushed back and I'd explained to him that there has to be one trust in me as a screen printer to interpret all this information you're giving me, Pantones, examples, etc., etc. Plus, he has been down and I've spoke with him and I've let him explain to me what he's trying to achieve. I have to take all that information and I have to produce the best possible job I can. And you as my customer has to trust that I will do it to the best of my ability and give you the best I can. If you have to sit and babysit me, it's not physically possible anyway, then no. I'm not the person for you. I'm not, there has to be a level of trust and there has to be an allowance, a little bit of leeway for this colour replication. Especially, if you tell me a Pantone, fair enough, I've got to get that Pantone pretty spot on. Yeah. But if you tell me a Pantone and say, well, I'm not sure if this is the right colour, but this is what I think it darker. Is, well then, yeah. Anyway,
it's $299.
Just one of those,
but summary. It's 7602, but at night time.
Yeah,
I hate those people. Just describe the colour in 3 ways. That's all it is. There are only 3 colours. It's either wants to be more red, more blue, or more yellow. Oh, can you make it darker? No, that's not it. It's red, blue, or yellow. Come on, make it up.
Blue or yellow.
I don't. You are opening yourself up to a world of abuse if you allow a customer to stand there and try and critique everything you do. Like you say, there has to be some trust. And if he's got a colour he wants you to match, he can't describe it to you over the phone. He has to either send you a swatch, which you are capable of. If somebody sends you a bit of old wallpaper that they've pulled off the Nan's house in 1976, and they say, I've got some real emotional attachment to this duck egg blue. Can you mix it for me? Then, yeah, I'm sure that you could mix it if it's there in front of you.
Get somewhere close,
Based on someone's description of a colour, well, it's like this, but different. Yeah. Well, I want it like this, but can you make it more spermy? No. Stop it.
Spermy?
Like the whale.
Wow, childish. No, yeah, the whale. That's it. I don't know. What can you do? Tricky customers. Quickly change the subject, quick.
Yeah, they're a pain in the ass, but we've got to put up with them. And a little bit of pushback never hurt anybody. And if your customer really is, on board with you, then they'll understand that.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. What they're trying to achieve is a vintage, distressed look. So they've given me the colours. They want it very faded. One of the thoughts I had was to use some sort of clear base.
Yep. I told you this before, haven't I?
Mix the colour with clear base. I think we talked about it making a tonal effect. So I think it was something like 50% white, 50% clear base. You get like a tonal effect
into your base, and a shitload of curable reducer as well to make it really thin.
Yeah.
If you're going to use a base, pick out bits of the design that you are going to base and you're not going to base. So the dark stuff, don't even put underneath there. Be selective with your base. No. Not every colour needs a base underneath it. So anything dark, anything without any white in it, don't base it. Just let it sit straight on that fabric. No. And anything that does have a white in it or a pastel colour in it, then don't weaken the colour, weaken the base. Now, if you're not using a base, higher mesh counts, weaker ink, So soft and base, extender base, and curable reducer. Curable reducer is great for giving a vintage look. If you're really, if you'd say normally put 10% curable reducer in, put 60% curable reducer in it. Really go for it. Really overstep the mark. Yeah. You're not going to break the curability of it because it's curable reducer.
Because it's curable.
None of that snake oil shit, remember, from last time? None of that.
No. I've already
no VB. Apparently I wasn't supposed to say that word, but VB. No VB. Thinner. No flow thinner.
No flow thinner. Right.
No oily stuff. The actual finished curable reducer, which we can really print with anyway. Just colour it up with your Pantone colour at maybe 20-30% colour and 70% curable reducer. Then you have the true vintage.
Proper vintage. Yeah. I'll give it a go. I'll have to have a play about, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So we expect show and tell.
Yeah, I'll do it. Oh God. If I get that far. So, what's your plan? How long are you over in the Netherlands?
Belgium. I'm here until Friday. I'm back on Friday, and then next week I will be in Austria.
Austria, right?
Austria. So I'm going to go see that over at MHM. Yeah, go see MHM and help them with some stuff. Cool. Gone from not doing anything to busy.
It's always the case, isn't it? We can't win.
So I've had what my kids call a proper job for like 30 years, which means that I know when I'm going to be working, how much I'm going to be earning, exactly what I'm going to be doing for the entire year. Completely and utterly safe, no gamble whatsoever.
Yeah.
So when I first started working for myself, one of the hardest things to adapt to is, I haven't got any work next week. What the fuck am I going to do? And there's a little bit of blind panic followed by blind faith in that, actually, no, it'll come. It might not come straight away, but there's no point panicking. Don't worry about stuff you can't control. Put yourself on Instagram, do some adverts, do some special effects if you need, special offers if you need to. But sometimes you just got to go with the flow. And it's been difficult for me to learn that skill, I must admit. Yeah. Not knowing, I mean, I've had probably the slowest month I've ever had since I did this job over the last month. And as it got towards the third and fourth week, my ass were going like that, eating my underpants. Hang on, it's been a long time, Tony. You really, really should be getting some work in by now. What's going on? Has somebody found out all your secrets and now they're not booking you? Have those pictures from Facebook 20 years ago finally surfaced?
Well, that bloody Speedo photo shoot. Jesus.
Yeah, my budgie smuggler days have come back to haunt me. So, it's... I like working for myself. I really do. I think it's absolutely awesome. But that bit can be a bit scary sometimes.
It's horrible. It's awful. It's funny because there are times of the year where I absolutely crave a break. Purely so I can start. When I say break, I mean just a bit of a cool down in orders, just not so much at the press non-stop, just so I can get some jobs done. So I can put some floor down or paint my wall or paint my silly little logo or whatever just around the shop. But then sometimes when the quiet time comes, I'm like, shit, I need some money. I need to get some orders in.
Like, I need to pay for the floor that I've just ruined.
You can't win. You just can't win. So,
no, we can't. No,
you can't win. But that's just the fun of being self-employed. That's a gamble, the risk you take, and I feel like it's
I think the payoff's good. If I'm honest, the payoff's good. For all the shitty bits, the payoff's good.
Yeah. When it gets there, I think when it cracks, I think it depends what you're doing. I ain't got the payback. I ain't got the payoff yet, but it'll come. It'll come in the form of a crate with MHM printed across it. So maybe machinery.
Surprise! I'll bring you one back. Yeah.
Oh dear.
So here we go. I'm gonna throw a technical one at you now.
Oh, go on then. Yeah, go on.
Drying screens.
Yeah.
Drying screens after they've had emulsion on them. After they've been coated.
Just stick them through tunnel dryer.
Where do you dry your screens?
In my Dave Roper special drying cabinet.
So that's what you've got. You got your Dave Roper special, which was basically a drying rack with Kingspan expanding foam stuck to it and a Glen Eater at the bottom.
Yeah. So actually, this is interesting that you brought this up because I am about to hack and modify my Dave Roper special. So I've come up with this plan to put an extraction fan on the door to pull air through rather than heat. So it'll have an airflow.
Has it got holes in the side to let hot air out?
No. It's got a tiny little cutout at the back, which is where the heat comes in.
To put your Glen Eater.
If you use it, where your Glen Eater comes in, it's actually exactly the same one. If you keep the door shut, that heat is building up, and your screen's
too hot.
You're warping your meshing. So you leave the door open, and that allows a bit of airflow. But I mean, as we all know, price of electric's going crazy. So I'm trying to be a little bit frugal. I'm thinking, well, any heat source is going to cost more money. But if I can just dry my screens with airflow,
it is the movement of air that does it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to basically turn the box into an extraction fan unit with airflow coming in from the bottom and then pumped out at the top.
Yeah.
I've got to test. So the fans I'm looking at, the real industrial fans, it's like 250 quid for this fan. It's a proper job. I'm not just. I mean, at first I thought, well, shall I stick a couple of computer fans in a cutout? But then I thought, is that really going to pull enough air through? So, anyway, to answer your question, yeah, I use one of them.
I'll tell you why I'm asking.
Go on.
This place as well, and a lot of places I go to, they have this issue. How do I dry my screens? Well, my solution has always been, and will always be, buy a drying cabinet.
Yeah.
Buy a proper drying cabinet. Now, Vastex do probably the only one I've seen that doesn't look like a Dave Roper special. So
yeah, that's for business. That one. That one's temperature controlled and it has airflow.
Temperature controlled. It's dark. It's built. It's purpose built to do this job.
Yeah.
So somebody's gone about. Okay, here's the problem. Where can I put my screens? Keep them dark. Keep them temperature controlled, and not burn them. Okay, here's the unit. And
yeah,
I might be wrong with this number, but I think they're around about $6,000 or $7,000.
Yeah, very expensive.
I think in my head that's where they are. And
something like that.
Over the last 2 years, I must have recommended 10 or 20 of these to be put in because they do the job they're supposed to do. They are perfect for the job. And when I recommended one to this guy, he went, it's a bit expensive. And, I'm from Yorkshire. We don't like spending money. It's that nasty rash that it brings me out in.
Yeah.
And so I thought to myself, if I was in his position, just starting out, and would I buy the Vastex unit? I'm like, no, because I've been in this position and I didn't buy the Vastex unit. What I did was make a warm room.
Yeah.
So I made a warm room, and I used to use, when you walk into a shop and you get the curtain air heaters above the door in the shop,
above
hot air blower, long hot air blower.
Yeah.
I put one of those in my warm room and made a warm room so I can walk in. No racking in there, no shelving in there, but I'm using my little racks that I've got all my screens on, and I roll a rack of wet ones in, roll a rack of dry ones out, and that's how for me, that's a much better use of my time, and it's not $7,000.
And I'd say it's funny actually because it's not a million mile off my plan anyway. So my plan was to get 2 stainless steel counters, like you see in the kitchens, like in my ink kitchen over there, stainless steel counter, put them together, sit me Dave Roper Special on top, and then above it on the wall, I would have one of those top-down heating sources. You've got me thinking now. You could have that on a timer or on a temperature thermometer. So it keeps the whole room at a certain temperature.
Yeah.
And rather than having a direct heat source pumping into that cupboard, you've got your airflow, but it's pulling the warm air within the room through anyway.
Yeah.
And then that's
I've started this process, 10, 15 years ago. And from a little cobbled together room to a proper built partitioned wall in line. And the latest iteration was about 3 or 4 years ago, where put that unit in, seemed to be all okay, was getting a bit warm. And then the next time I went to go visit this shop, which is where I put my original unit in, they've had a little sparky in, and he's put a little box in the corner with a temperature controller on, and it just turns on and off when it gets to about 40 degrees. But the room is always kept at that temperature, and little hole in the wall at the top of the room to just let the air out. Let the air out.
Just let
it's
air
not
out.
blown. There's no fan there because the hot air's rising and it just comes out the top.
Right.
And it works really well. But so does the Vastex unit.
Yeah, if you've got money for it, get one of them.
The Vastex unit works exceptionally well and can be put into a workflow so easily.
Yeah.
But I think at that money, if that is the right money, I'm blindly just throwing that number out. But I think it's around about there. And, let's say you want 2 or 3 of them, one for your coated screens, one for your wet screens, one for your dry screen. All of a sudden now it's a bit expensive now. I'm up at 20 grand for three dryers.
Yeah.
And I can definitely build a room for 20 grand. Bloody hell, I can build a house for that, I think.
If you've got Dosh, you could probably do with a combination. You could do with your screen room should be temperature controlled. It should be everything we just described. And then if you have a cabinet that lives inside it, you maybe you use your cabinet to dry whatever screens you've just washed. But then the screens live in your little wheelie carts in a temperature controlled room anyway.
That's pretty much everybody's setup. You just described
that wants to be ideal.
Merch shops and all those other people. That's pretty much their setup. They have a place to dry, and I go to a place. I'm really lucky to go to a place that I call my little playground, where I'm like a kid in a china shop. 57 machines, 57 MHMs, 2,500 screens a day go through this department. And they don't have a Vastex unit. They don't have a heated room. They just have a room with really good airflow, where the temperature is a constant sort of around about 30 degrees. And everything just happens so in a big open space. It's so nice to see, but obviously massive use of space and huge throughput of screens.
Yeah, bloody hell. They must use hundreds every day.
57 machines, all printing 8 and 10 colour jobs. Yeah, it's huge. It just blows your mind. It blows your mind to see it.
God. And we had a bloke at end of a washout move, washing screens on a step ladder.
That's the one, yeah. Yeah, still bleeding, washing screens down with a jet wash at end after all that money spent. But just goes to prove.
If you was in a situation where you was limited on space and you had to wash your screens in the same room as you stored them, how would you feel about that? You wouldn't be happy, would you?
No.
Because that's where I am at right now. But I'm thinking either basically build a wardrobe with these screen carts that roll in, with extractor fans to keep airflow in there. That would be one idea. I have got spare room up above where I wash my screens. But it's got carpet down. It's just a weird little room to put it, but maybe that's an option.
Yeah, I would think of that. I'd be using a separate room. I think that's a good idea. We don't really want any of that spray. You know, I do sometimes think that we all use a washout booth, which is sort of like it's a big open space like that, and
let's be honest,
it's a urinal.
I've even got widgets at the bottom of mine.
Some pineapple cubes.
Yeah. and an 8-ball that somebody's thought, fuck it. Let's just
fact check, they don't taste like pineapple, those.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, we did. Jesus, Web, you threw me off on a tangent there.
That was a real tangent, wasn't it?
So we don't really want all that water spraying back and cutting anything. So if we go computer to screen, we certainly don't want our 50-gram machine to get covered in water. If we've got coated screens there, we don't want any water dripping on those. We want to remember the humidity around about 50%. If we're throwing water up in the air, that humidity is going to go up to the 80s and 90s very quickly. So we don't want that. We need to keep it separate. And you know, I think the whole design of a washout booth, it needs a rethink. It's designed to splash you back in the face.
Yeah.
It needs a proper rethink. I think I've only ever seen a really good adaptation of it. I think it was over in America somewhere. And somebody had done away with the sides completely.
Yeah.
And the bottom was just a mesh. And the back was a mesh. So that any overspray actually just disappeared and fell down, rather than bouncing back and splashing you straight in the face, really, like some sort of strange movie that you shouldn't have watched.
I've always thought something that suspends the screen in the middle and holds it with like little arms, and just holds it in the middle. Because when you're scrubbing a screen, like just holding top of the screen and scrubbing away and away, like just have it clamped in the middle, scrub the bugger, and then wash it, set, with a deep setback. And then you're not getting that splashback. And then it's not sat in the bottom, so all the crappy water's like, ruining the bottom of your frame, and when it builds up, it starts getting into the mesh.
So when we put a screen in to be cleaned, it's always leaning that way.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so the top is leaning away from you, the bottom is towards you.
Yeah.
But that just makes everything bounce up.
Yeah, it does.
If they were like that, if they were stored like that, when you sprayed there, it would bounce down and away from you, and you wouldn't get piss wet through.
Yeah, true.
We lean them away from us. This is working really well on Spotify again, although I think you've got the video sorted now, haven't you?
Yeah.
But if they lean away from us, when you spray here, it just bounces all over you. But if you spray that way, so I often, when I'm cleaning a screen, I will grab the top and pull it towards me so that when I'm blasting it bounces down.
Yeah. I'm telling you, somebody needs to make a washout booth that has 2 arms that go, clamps it.
If I made it, there'd be like 2 little T-Rex arms that come out like that and just hold it.
Those little plastic tiny hands that people put in the sleeves.
That's the one. Yeah, I would definitely have those, yeah.
I'm going to invent
I'd love to see more robotics in our industry. I would absolutely love to see it. Somebody asked me...
Who can afford it, though? Apart from Mercops.
We do lots of repetitive tasks. Shitloads of repetitive tasks. And I'm sure that some of them can be done by a little robot or some sort of automated system. The closest I've seen was the M&R passport system. The M&R passport. It used to take off, automatic take off.
All right.
So it pulls the shirts off for you. And at the time, we're like, fuck, that saves a whole wage. That's a fantastic idea. Because the shirts always arrive to it in the same place, at the same time, the same everything. So it just, grippers come up, pull it off, put it down. But obviously, it was a dumb machine back then. And so it would keep taking off the shit shirts no matter what. If you'd run out of white, it'd just keep taking the shirts off and taking the shirts off and taking the shirts off. And you wouldn't know because you'd be busy loading on at 3.5 million an hour. So it never really caught on, apart from if you were like huge numbers, then you could do the maths and it would actually pay for itself in a year or so. But you'd have to maybe have somebody watching the quality. And I'd love to see the camera used. You know, we've got digital software that looks for differences in things. So I'm sure we could get camera recognition software on that, and it's looking for anything different. If anything different comes up, it, you know, blows a little party popper and waves its little plastic hands in the air and goes, no, stop, this looks like shit. But there doesn't seem to be any investment in it. Not that I know of, anyway. I don't see any progression. Because right now, putting 3 people on a press, which is the standard minimum, paying them all absolute minimum wage is going to cost you 30 quid an hour, 10-hour day, that's 300 quid in staff. Then you've got to try and divide that by how much you're going to earn out of those 3 people all day. And it's getting to the point where it's nearly too expensive. And somebody asked me the midweek if I knew of any little single colour machines to do bags and stuff.
All right, yeah.
And I know a couple, and I sent a couple of videos. I spoke to a few people, and somebody sent me this video. I said, look, if it's bags you want to do, really, forget the single colour stuff. Have a little carousel. I'm like, no, because then we're into MHMs and we're into big money. And this is just a little guy who wants to print lots of bags. And he sent me a little video of this little carousel that he'd got. And because bags are always in the same place, they'd cut 2 notches out the pallets, and these gripper arms came forward and pulled the bag off. Gripper arms came forward and pulled the bag off. I'm like, oh, shit, I like that. I really like that. That's really fast. And because it's so close to you and so small, you sort of like you're loading the bags. You don't need to look at the bags when you're loading because they can only go on one way. You push them all on to the full brim, and then you sort of like looking at this automatic guy taking them off. I'm like, oh yeah, now that could be explored.
We work in a very creative industry. The people in this industry should all be incredibly creative. We must all be creative people. But it's going to take an acting engineering, you know, that type of creative mind, who will probably look at these problems and find solutions to do it. But there's only a few, you know, there's only like a little handful, there's only one action engineering and there's little every now and again. I don't know, we're all just so busy in our own little words that we forget to progress and find solutions to problems.
We find solutions to our own problems, but we don't think we can spread them. Plus there's a little bit of protectionism. Well, I've sorted it out. Have you not sorted it out yet? I figured that out. Look, I'm not telling you what to do because I've already figured it out. There's a little bit. I think that's a generational I go in different shops. I go in all sorts of different shops, so I see different solutions to the same problem, and some of them are like, "Fuck, that's a great idea." You know, a guy built a little screen cleaning station in the corner. I'm like, "What's that?" Oh, I just put my screens on there. When they're dirty, just do that, wash that, and they're off. I'm like, "Oh, I like that. That's a really good idea."
Yeah,
you know, or some sort of different way of applying glue, you know, any of these little innovations that we keep finding and seeing.
I think it's a generational thing. I think some of your older screen printers keep things very close to the chest. And I think now, and I'm not including myself in this bracket, I think we're seeing new screen printers and a younger generation of screen printer who are sharing more, but also expecting more. And I don't know how you feel about this. I get people asking for how to do stuff all the time, and I don't give a shit. I'm happy to help if I can, and I don't hold anything back. I don't have any secrets because I just I don't care. But it's almost expected now. Everything's very much shared and open, and I don't know. But I think
you think this is
some of the older guys.
Generation?
It is. It's a generational internet generation. We all expect to be told everything and showed everything. How many people just... But we're going back to Mad Specials. Specials. Maybe
you're right.
Just work it out. Right. Go work it out yourself, you know?
But I think he'd tell you if you asked him. I mean, today of all days, I've had to ring Sarah at Heck Press and ask for some advice on what to do with an Epson printer.
No.
Really? You know, and it's just like randomly, I'm like, well... I might know someone that knows this. I don't know because it's been so long since I've used one. Maybe you'll know. So, yeah. And I thought nothing of ringing her up and asking her. So, yeah, I think you're right. We do want to share information as much as possible. And, you know, when I ask for help, it's very rare now that people go, no, I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
But I share loads as well. So maybe it's that. I do share loads.
Well, you get what you give back. You get back what you give out, don't you? So
yeah, I'd like to think so. Yeah.
Bit of chill shit. So we've been running an hour and 20 minutes, which I think is an hell of an achievement considering the time delay. And I've had
the time delay, the bad quality, the fact I've not had a beer yet, so I'm a bit grumpy. I think we're doing really, really well.
It's been a very difficult episode. So, have you got anything else that we can add to the podcast, or should we knock it on head and hope that next week we have a better connection and we can provide more wholesome entertainment?
I think we'll have some more content next week. We have been gathering videos of little people's snippets of what they're using to clean up with, and we can certainly put those together in a montage. Some have been late, some have been difficult with being away from a point of contact with crappy internet. But we're going to put a montage together of what people are using to clean. We've already had lots of submissions of videos. Thank you very much. If you haven't done it yet, send us a little clip. It's only 10 seconds. We'll promise to make you look pretty if you want us to. Because I just put a picture of me and him at the side here and you'll look good. And we want to know what you're using to clean up with. And when I've been asking people, I've used the word on press. Yeah, I've used the word on press, and that's confused a few people because they thought, what do we mean? What do we use to clean the press? No, what do we use to clean while working on the press? So what do you use to clean your screens, your squeegees, your tools, the screens while they're working? And obviously, I'm getting a lot of the similar answers because a lot of people use a similar ink.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Doesn't really need that much solvent.
Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
No, I won't give it away. So tell us which solvent you're using. Tell us which chemical you're using to clean up while you're printing. What have you got in that little squirty bottle? What have you got in that little ketchup bottle at the side of you that you always use to clean up with that you'd be lost without?
I'm off to get mine. I'm going to go get mine.
And you have to. Well, I think I know what yours is. Is yours going to be red?
Oh.
Oh.
Not. I don't know what the red one is.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Alchemy. K3X. There we go.
K3X?
Yeah, I think I've been through a few different ones, but I've sort of settled on this one.
What do you use it for?
So, basically to strip a press. So when I finished my job, or if I get any ink anywhere that it shouldn't be, quick spray, rag it down, and then the screen comes off and it goes into the dip tank.
So are you putting it into a spray bottle?
Yeah, in a spray bottle. Oh, actually, I've got some
any
spray
particular
bottles.
Special spray bottle?
Yeah, but one you recommended.
We're trying to be subtle.
Arrange bad boys. Just a spray bottle.
You can still do your hairdressing on a weekend as well, so you're all right.
Yeah. I can't remember what website it was from, but I'm sure Tony will ask if he'll tell you. As he's just admitted, he's happy to share.
Ampulla. Ampulla.
That was it.
Ampulla.
Yeah. They have tons of plastic as well. It looks like they have ink containers as well, maybe.
Lots and lots of handy little plastic containers. Certainly for if you're going to be using water-based ink, the little ketchup condiment dispensers, they're really good. Spray bottles, little tops.
If you were using water-based ink, perhaps this is a spoiler, perhaps you would only use CO2. CO2?
Do you mean
That's
H2O?
oxygen, innit? H2O. Just breathe on it.
Carbon dioxide, you'd die, but never mind.
You know what I mean.
I know what you meant. I'm with you. You're all right. It's been 20 weeks. I know you now.
Right. So basically what I'm trying to say is if you're using water-based, perhaps you would just spit on your screen and give it a rag.
Yeah, so get your submissions in. If you think you've been lazy and you missed it, unlock it. We're extending it a week. So if you don't want Tony to ring you up and pester you to death, then send us a little video description of what you're using to clean up with. Thank you to the ones that have. You know who you are. Top of the class. Well done. Thank you. But also the ones that haven't. Why? What's wrong with you? Come on. Get involved. Get involved.
Personally,
tell us what you're using to clean up with, and we'll put together a little montage of them for next week when we've got some sort of semblance of normality. We've got a good internet connection. And
fingers crossed.
what I didn't tell Danny is I didn't bring my laptop charger, and I've got about 2% battery left. So we're going to have to lap this up anyway.
Well, that worked out straight.
These little things going like that. I'm like, yeah, you've got about 10 minutes left. Okay. So
right.
We're going to wrap it up. This has been a mediocre version of Chippy Tea podcast with me, Tony Palmer from Palm Print, and
Danny Day from the Pursuit Print Car. All best. Stay safe. Send your best to your mums and dads and all that stuff. Bye.
I'm loving this delay. I could just let you go for it.
It's horrible, isn't it? It's so hard to converse.
It is hard to converse. We will get back to normal next week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for contributing. And if you like what you hear, give that like button a little tickle.
Send us
Maybe
a tenner.
even poke a subscribe button.
If you like what you hear, send us money.
If you want to be involved, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you. If you want to be involved, it's going to cost you. End of story. No. Send us your submissions. Like, comment, subscribe. We do appreciate it. We didn't think we'd still be here, so you must be surprised as well. And we'll have a good old catch up next week. We'll see you later.
See you in a bit. Right, how have I done it all?
I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry coulis. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.